Number 7. Zombie squirrels in your backyard. Imagine looking out your window and spotting a squirrel. Except this one looks like it crawled straight out of a horror movie. Its fur patchy. Its face covered in oozing, wart-like tumors. Locals have started calling them zombie squirrels. And here's the chilling part. It isn't Photoshop. It's happening right now in American suburbs. So what exactly is turning an innocent backyard critter into a grotesque monster? The truth is weirder than you think. We're used to thinking of squirrels as twitchy little nut hoarders. Cute, harmless, sometimes annoying. But lately, homeowners in states like Maine have reported something else. Squirrels skulking across yards covered in growths so large they can barely move. Most people just assume it's rabies, mange, or some creepy urban legend. But it's not. This isn't an old myth. It's a very real outbreak. And if you get too close, experts warn you might not like what happens next. These so-called zombie squirrels are being ravaged by a viral infection called squirrel fibromatosis. It causes grotesque, pus-filled tumors to sprout across their skin, sometimes so large they blind or cripple the animal. To predators, they look diseased and terrifying. To humans, they look like something out of a nightmare. And while experts say the virus rarely jumps to people, it is transmissible between squirrels, which is why entire neighborhoods suddenly spot dozens of mutants. The eerie part? Historians believe outbreaks like this inspired centuries of folklore about cursed animals and forest demons. When your everyday squirrel starts looking like a glitching monster, it's hard not to imagine the woods are haunted. So next time you see a squirrel, look closer. You might be staring at nature's own zombie experiment. But if that creeps you out, wait until you hear about the Frankenstein rabbits hopping across Colorado.
Number 6. Frankenstein rabbits. Picture this, a rabbit hopping across your yard. At first, it looks normal. Then you notice it, long, black, horn-like spikes sprouting from its head, twisting like something out of a horror comic. Locals have nicknamed them Frankenstein bunnies. Sounds fake, right? Some mutated cryptid you'd find in a scary TikTok video? Nope. These rabbits are real, they're multiplying, and experts in the US are warning people to stay away. The question is, what's growing on their faces? People expect rabbits to be soft, fluffy, and Instagram-worthy. But in places like Colorado, more and more are being spotted with nightmarish spikes sprouting from their skulls. Passerbys think they're looking at some freak mutation or radiation accident. The unsettling truth? These creatures aren't a new species at all. They're the same rabbits you've always seen, except their bodies are playing host to one of the creepiest natural infections on Earth. The culprit is the Shope papillomavirus, a disease so bizarre it's often called jackalope virus. It causes keratinized growths, basically giant black tumors that harden into horn-like protrusions. These growths can twist into grotesque shapes, even curling over the rabbit's eyes or mouths. The effect is so surreal that it inspired old American folklore about horned rabbits known as jackalopes. But here's the kicker. The infection is spreading again, with real sightings popping up in U.S. suburbs this year. Scientists warn not to touch them. While the virus doesn't usually infect humans, it can cause grotesque cancers in other species. A fluffy bunny that looks like it belongs in a monster movie? That's not folklore anymore. The cute-turned-horrifying rabbit is a reminder that nature hides real monsters in plain sight. But while horns and tumors are scary, the creepiest threat of all is hiding inside their mouths.
Number 5. Teeth that never quit growing. Here's a nightmare you probably never thought about. Imagine if your teeth never stopped growing. Every day, forever. That's the reality for both rabbits and squirrels. If they don't gnaw constantly, their teeth don't just look awkward, they twist, spiral, and pierce straight through their own skulls. Suddenly, the cute bucktooth look takes on a much darker edge, because behind the cartoon image, these animals are one missed snack away from self-destruction. We grew up thinking squirrels and rabbits just chew a lot because they're hungry. They nibble nuts, carrots, wooden decks. It's almost a personality trait. But here's what most people don't realize. This gnawing isn't optional. Their front teeth, called incisors, literally never stop growing. Humans grow teeth once and stop. They never get that luxury. And if they fail to wear their teeth down, the results aren't just inconvenient, they're straight up gruesome. Overgrown rodent teeth can reach horrifying lengths, curving like tusks, spiraling into noses, or puncturing their own jaws. Wildlife rescuers often find rabbits whose teeth have grown into giant yellow coils, leaving them unable to eat. It's not evolution gone wrong, it's survival's brutal design. Endless tooth growth means they can chew through bark, bone, or even concrete without wearing their tools down. The trade-off? Stop gnawing for just a few weeks, and your own body turns into a weapon against you. It's survival at a cost that feels more like torture. So next time you see a squirrel chewing like crazy, it's not snacking. It's fighting for its life. And if you thought teeth were creepy, wait until you see what their eyes are hiding.
Number 4. The empty-eyed stare. Ever locked eyes with a rabbit? Or thought you did? Creepy, isn't it? Their pupils seem huge, their gaze oddly glassy, like a broken doll staring past you. Here's the twist. They're not actually looking at you at all. Rabbits and squirrels can't even see straight ahead. Their eyes are stuck so far on the sides of their skulls that their blank stare is just biology gone uncanny. And the effect is unsettling enough that horror designers literally borrow it for monsters. Humans are wired to find eye contact comforting. Eyes tell us intent, friend or threat. But prey animals like rabbits evolved with side-placed eyes for one reason: a panoramic view of predators sneaking up. The trade-off: they can't focus directly forward. What looks like eye contact is actually them staring through you, leaving us with that creepy, glass-eyed feeling. We sense something is off, even if we don't know why. But there's an even weirder twist hiding in their vision. That side placement gives them nearly 360 degrees sight, meaning they can see behind their own heads without turning. Sounds like a superpower, until you realize it comes at the cost of depth perception. Up close, rabbits can barely judge distance. Their survival trick becomes a creepy flaw, giving them that doll-like detached stare. Horror animators know this. Designs like Slender Man, Dolls and The Conjuring, and even alien depictions exaggerate this same effect: wide-set eyes that don't track like ours. When we see it on a fluffy bunny, it feels cute. When we imagined it on something bigger, terrifying. That unsettling stare isn't just in your head, it's evolution tricking your brain. And if weird eyes freak you out, wait until you see what happens when parasites start rewiring their brains from the inside.
Number 3. The return of the parasite puppeteer. A squirrel twitching, a rabbit running in circles. At first glance, you think it's injured, but sometimes what you're seeing isn't an injury at all. It's possession. Not by demons, but by parasites that hijack their nervous systems and force bizarre, jerky movements. Creepy, yes, but also disturbingly familiar, because some scientists believe these parasites are nature's original puppeteers, controlling bodies like broken marionettes. Most of us think of parasites as worms or fleas, gross but harmless from a distance. The truth is stranger. Certain parasites actually infiltrate the brain and muscle tissue of rabbits and squirrels, scrambling their movements until they look like glitching creatures from a horror game. To predators, they look weak and easy to grab. But here's the creepy kicker. That glitching is exactly what the parasite wants. It's stage managing the host like a horror movie director. One of the most common culprits in U.S. wildlife is a protozoan parasite that causes encephalitozoanosis. A mouthful of a word, but the effects are chilling. Infected rabbits tilt their heads unnaturally, stumble in circles, or jerk like they're mid-seizure. Squirrels sometimes develop bizarre twitching fits, falling from trees like broken toys. The parasite doesn't care about the host. It only cares about spreading. By disorienting prey, it makes them easy pickings for predators, passing itself on. Nature, in other words, is full of hidden puppet strings, and these adorable critters often become the stage. So next time you see a squirrel acting glitched, you might be watching a parasite pulling the strings.
Number 2, cannibal-adjacent behavior. Bunnies nibble carrots, squirrels stash acorns. That's the image we grew up with. But here's a scene you don't see in children's books. A rabbit gnawing on a decaying skull, or a squirrel chewing the bones of another animal. Yes, it happens. And no, it's not a myth. These so-called harmless herbivores sometimes step into cannibal territory, shattering the soft, cuddly image we project on them. So why would a vegetarian animal suddenly act like a graveyard scavenger? The answer is stranger than you think. We've been told forever, squirrels equals nuts, rabbits equals veggies. End of story. But nature doesn't follow cartoon logic. Wildlife cameras in the US have caught both animals gnawing on carcasses, bones, even antlers. People assume it's some freak, isolated behavior, but it isn't. These animals don't do it out of bloodlust. They do it out of necessity. And once you know why, their cuteness suddenly feels like a mask hiding something feral. The truth is, rabbits and squirrels have a nutritional gap, calcium and other minerals they can't get from plants alone. To fill that gap, they chew on bones, sometimes scavenge from dead animals, sometimes even from their own kind. Squirrels in particular have been documented gnawing skulls clean, their yellow teeth scraping bone like tiny saws. To us, it feels cannibalistic and disturbing. To them, it's survival. But the effect is undeniable. The sight of a fluffy bunny munching on a femur flips the script in your brain. It reminds you that even the cutest creatures are just survival machines, willing to cross lines we never imagined. That's not the Easter Bunny. It's a skeleton-gnawing survivor in disguise. But if you thought chewing bones was disturbing, wait until you see how their very skull shapes were built to creep you out.
Number 1. Skull shapes amplify the creepy. Take a rabbit skull. Strip away the fur, the fluff, the cuteness. What's left is a hollow-eyed, buck-toothed nightmare. And here's the weirdest part. Those exact skull features are the blueprint horror designers use when creating monsters. From giant eye sockets to oversized teeth, rabbits and squirrels are already wearing the mask of something unsettling. You just don't notice until the fur is gone. And once you've seen it, you'll never look at those twitchy little critters the same way again. Most of us never see animal skulls up close, so we assume the creepy look of horror creatures is pure imagination. But it isn't. Strip down a rabbit or squirrel, and the design already looks uncanny. Their incisors jut forward like tools. Their eye sockets are massive, giving that doll-like, unblinking stare. To humans, that combination sets off alarm bells in the brain. Too familiar to ignore, too strange to feel safe. And that's not an accident. It's how evolution built them. Their skulls evolved to maximize survival. Oversized sockets equals panoramic vision. Continuous teeth equals lifelong chewing. Sloped jaws equals better leverage for gnawing. But together, those features produce the exact uncanny proportions horror artists use when creating monsters. Wide-set eyes, long jaws, buck teeth, exaggerated to grotesque effect. It's why rabbits and squirrels look cute at one angle and creepy at another. Strip away the soft fur and twitchy movements, and you've basically got a miniature skull that wouldn't look out of place in a horror museum. That eerie overlap between biology and design is why these animals trigger such mixed reactions, part comfort, part chill. The skeleton underneath the fluff is already nightmare fuel.
So next time you see a squirrel or rabbit in your yard, don't just say aw, say, what the hell is it hiding? Send this to someone who still thinks rabbits are just cute.